While pulling up to her tan two-story apartment building, I was a bundle of nerves. I questioned, am I man enough to go through with this? I parked my car, sat in front of the complex and waited. I waited for my mind to clear. I waited for my heart to stop beating so fast, for the return of courage. I waited for logic to help me make a decision. I waited too long. Before I had a chance to change my mind and leave, the door to Eunice's apartment flung open. A wild-eyed blonde emerged. She bounded down the stairs, headed towards me. Not wanting to be at a disadvantage, I jumped from my car and slowly approached. We met half the distance to the parkway. Squealing with delight, Eunice threw her arms around me and planted a kiss right on the lips. It was one of those big wet ones like you get from your Aunt Beulah, or worse, Aunt Beulah's Labrador Retriever. I had hoped our first kiss might be of a more romantic nature. This was more like a slurp. Eunice suddenly pulled away. In silence, she checked me out from the bottom of my brand new spanking white tennis shoes to the top of my head. I guess she approved. Without a word, she grabbed my clammy hand, dragged me upstairs, and pulled me into her pad. Not knowing what to expect, I felt like a virginal lamb being led to the altar for slaughter. The entire time we were sharing, Eunice was toying with an old beat-up alarm clock, making the stride go ring and ring and ring. With a zillion years of anger separation, the two of us sat staring at one another. To break the tension, I started telling her about college, the summer job I had, and family stuff. She too must have felt uncomfortable. She nervously began playing the Do You Remember game. Do you remember the fruit we used to steal? Do you remember the fish pond my dad built? Do you remember the pigeon, the police, my rabbit Clark? Clark's dead now. My dad killed him and we ate him for Easter. But I still have one of his feet for good luck. You want to see it? As I prepared to leave, Eunice gave me a peculiar look, and without warning, she burst into tears. In an attempt to calm her down, I clumsily put my arms around her. She cried even harder. In the middle of this turmoil, filled with concern the girl might be having a nervous breakdown over the death of her bunny, I couldn't help noticing my reflected friend had a fantastic body beneath her loose-fitting, flower-embroidered overalls. I found myself sexually excited. As quickly as she'd started, Eunice stopped bawling, wiped her nose on her sleeve, and announced, I need to be alone. You better go. After I'd taken 2 steps toward the door, this emotionally bipolar babe shifted gears. Her voice became seductively calm. Freddie, do you think you can do me a favor? I'm supposed to see my sister. You remember Violet, don't you? She's living in Venice. I need a ride tomorrow, around 3:30. With my mouth speaking, obviously without consulting my brain, I automatically responded, sure, no problem. Now silent, she gave a friendly hug and sent me on my way. I arrived home flushed and exhausted. I couldn't believe what I just put myself through. I thought of phoning Eunice and canceling, but as the evening wore on, I did nothing. My mind kept racing in all directions. Though tired, I slept little. I faced the morning recalling the feelings I'd had when I was confronting my friend, touching, smelling her body, my arousal. This was the first time I achieved an erection while actually having physical contact with the girl. Felt good, felt right. I wanted more. Typically, for the male of the species, I was doing my thinking with my dick. Despite my moral dilemma, confusion, and insecurities, like a predator, I was going to pursue my prey. But first, I'd have to do a bit of research. Good Boy Scout that I was, I prepared by locating my old standby, being Norm, that ancient sex education text I pondered during my tormented years of puberty. While studying the book's pages, I mentally heard Mom's voice. There's no telling how many boys this girl slept with. What if she has a venereal disease? And the last thing you need is to get her pregnant. I reviewed the chapter on birth control. I'd be smart to take the book's advice. For safe sex, use condoms. Yet now I'd have to buy some and learn how they work. I drove to the local drugstore, thinking a little stubble might make me look older. I hadn't shaved. With wobbly knees, I began looking for the condom display, but none was to be found. Well, we kids born in the 40s and 50s may eventually become known as the free love generation, generations X, Y, and Z, the birth control, tattoo loving, body piercing, heavy metal, anything goes generations. They hadn't a clue as to the hell